So,
why F3?
something that we want to focus on in 2016 is the continued investigation of why F3, Yankee Foxtrot 3, and it's one of those last petroleum areas on Yerba Buena Island. Even though the property is transferred, we still have responsibility for petroleum cleanup of several areas. And what we want to do here is to put together a work plan in coordination with the Water Board and the regulatory agencies to go and fill in some data gaps to better characterize exactly what's going on in this site, since it's right on the shoreline. And again, it's an ecological site that needs further investigation. So you'll see a couple of terminologies here: shallow pore water samples. So basically, right at the shoreline, we want to figure out where the water here in the rocks, the groundwater, where when it flows out, where it eventually meets the salt water of the bay. And we're going to be using what's called a trident probe because it kind of looks like a fork. And we're going to use that to help identify where this interface is between the groundwater and the bay. We'll also be able to gather other information to develop a baseline ecological risk assessment for the benthic invertebrates, which are present in the shoreline here. And so all that information will be collected, and then with the Water Board, we'll determine whether or not what the ecological risk is or not to the site. Ultimately, this will help determine whether or not we need to go and perform some remediation, which could be excavation or some other treatment in place, or not.
So Dave, if I could just, before we leave, so just if I could translate for folks, benthic invertebrates. When you're looking at the bottom of San Francisco Bay, and there's obviously a mud layer, right? In the top 18 inches, about 18 inches of that mud, right? That's the benthic area beneath the water. There's invertebrates, so there's primitive little critters that live there, right? All different types of primitive little critters. They are the sensitive receptors that you analyze to see what the effects of the contaminants are on, and that's the foundation of ecological risk assessments that are done, whether they're done by the Navy or anybody really. So that's what we're going to do, but you have to gather very specialized data to be able to work with risk assessors, right, and ecologists to determine what if any effects are on these what you've called benthic invertebrates. So the little critters like the worms and so forth in the shell, those little primitive creatures that don't have a backbone, that live in that top 18 inches of the mud and the goo, but are in direct contact with the bay, right? That's what we have to determine, and that's something that takes a very specialized project. And the project manager for this in 2016 again is Mukesh Neda, and we'll be working on that. Okay.
And again, here's YF3, just so everyone knows where it is in Yerba Buena Island, right on the shoreline. And this figure right here, basically, believe it or not, back in the day there were above ground storage tanks for petroleum long time ago. So this petroleum has been there for a long time.